Dave Lombardo is one of the most renowned thrash metal drummers in the world. So in order to continue our isolated Slayer series, what we could do today is take a look at some of the isolated drum parts from Dave's first tenure at Slayer, just to remind ourselves how insane he actually was in the early days, and then discuss a little something about Dave overall. Here you go.
As you go insane, go insane. The never-ending search for a truth never told. The loss of our hope and your dignity.
Dave started playing drums, or rather bongo, when he was just about 8 years old. And 2 years later, at the age of 10, he's gotten his first ever drum set, a 5-piece Pearl Maximum drum set for $350 gifted to him by his father. And it was on that drum set that Dave spent hours and hours learning to play drums with the help of the legendary Kiss album Alive, trying to perform every Peter Criss part flawlessly from the very beginning until the very end. Yet, interestingly enough, when talking about his major influences in the early days, Dave mentioned Bill Ward, John Bonham, and Ian Pace. And his later inspirations include the legendary Clive Burr and Phil Taylor, which, if you listen closely, you can actually kind of hear in the early Slayer work, and especially that of the legendary Motorhead drummer. And while Dave, of course, has performed in a couple of high school bands, including the one with Tom Araya before co-founding Slayer, it wasn't, of course, until the release of Show No Mercy in 1983 that his drumming has started turning heads of pretty much everyone around him, as despite the whole idea that the double bass drumming, of course, has been done before him. And we all, of course, know that it was the Judas Priest Sin After Sin album that has inspired not only Dave but Carrie and the rest of Slayer to perform the music we all know the band for today. Still, Dave Lombardo was, in fact, one of the very first drummers in the world of metal to go absolutely nuts with double bass on such an insane speed. But the most important thing is that unlike with many other drummers in the world of metal, especially at that time, Dave Lombardo's drumming was in fact very recognizable, helping this band reach the heights they did in the mid-80s. By the way, talking about that, a couple of years ago, Dave Lombardo actually opened up a bit more about the recording process for the Slayer debut album Show No Mercy, which he mentioned was his least favorite album to record, specifically because of the fact that he was pounding the drums so insanely heavy that the cymbal sound was taking over the entire song. So he actually had to record the drums and the cymbals separately.
So what they had me do is wrap the cymbals with towels, right? Play the drums, record the drums, and then listen to the playback and hit cymbals where they're supposed to be.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. So you can hear that.
And of course one may argue that by today's standards, which by the way I always say have simply skyrocketed in the last several years, but Dave is not the most technical drummer out there, especially if we take into account some of those teenage YouTube sensations who are simply incredible. Yet at the same time, I actually do believe that Dave Lombardo was one of the drummers who have shaped the metal sound of today. And it is actually really interesting to see how the Slayer drumming has evolved since their debut album in 1983 and up until today. Both with Paul Bostaph joining the band and with Dave's second tenure at Slayer as well. Which of course brings me to the question whether you guys would like me to release a similar video for Paul Bostaph or for example for Dave's later drum work at Slayer. Please let us know in the comments. And while you're typing that, of course, please let us know what you guys personally think about Dave Lombardo and who is your favorite Slayer drummer. I'm really curious to find out. As always, thank you so much for watching the short video, guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!